Hey everybody, Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. We've got some more cool old iron to check out tonight. Cool stuff keeps rolling through the gates all the time. We've got a lot of amazing stuff coming up. So you're definitely going to want to click that subscribe button and stay tuned because you won't believe some of the stuff that's been coming through the gates. 66 Fairlane convertible, 51, 55, 58 Chevy trucks, 57 Mercury pace car convertible, 65 Nova, 39 Ford. A lot of cool stuff all coming up very soon, so click that subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of it. But tonight we're going to check out what I think is the world's second cheapest 1972 Ford Torino. This was a pretty basic car. It is a two-door hardtop, and the other thing about it is I don't have a ton of these mid-70s Torino Montego bodied cars here. So I'm always looking to fill those gaps. You know, when somebody calls looking for something for their project car, if you've got one of those cars here, you've at least got a shot of being able to help that guy out with his project. So, like I said, I was pretty weak in this area. We're going to check out the other couple that I've got here real quickly and take a good look at this 72 Torino two-door hardtop. So let's go check a few of these out and see what I think makes this probably about the second cheapest Torino ever built. It is a V8, so it's not an inline six, but that was about the extent of the option list. So let's go check these things out. Now, like we mentioned, this is a pretty basic 72 Torino. At least it is a two-door, kind of a medium brown, not much trim, pretty much a basic car. But while we're over here, let's check out a couple of these others. Another Torino, I think this is a 76. This one also a two-door. And the only other thing I've got in this body style, Montego wagon. This is definitely one you don't see very often. I believe this car is also a 72 if I remember correctly. Montego MX Villager. Kind of an interesting old car. So like I said, not a lot in this particular body style of Ford product here in stock. So always glad to add and fill some holes on inventory that I don't have here. So back to this old 72, like we talked about, I think this is pretty much about as basic as they got in 72. Not much trim on the side. In fact, about the only bright work on the side is the Torino emblem. No moldings down the side of this thing. Pretty basic all the way around. It's been banged up a bit here and there. It's got a little bit of rust in it. But you just don't stumble onto these cars very often anymore. Now inside, more basic. I guess that's the best way to put it. This car's been sitting for a long time. And it's definitely deteriorated some, but we can see this car, basic black vinyl door panels with no trim. This car didn't even have carpet. It was a rubber mat car, believe it or not. Had the old rubber floor mat in it. And this car actually, it is a 3 on the tree. Take a peek down under there, we can see the clutch pedal. This was pretty much your basic 72 Torino. Looks like someone added a radio. So this thing may not have even had a radio to start with originally. No clock. You pretty much had some lights and a speedometer. Did give you a temp gauge, the speedo. You got a fuel gauge, and everything else was a light. Being a two-door, does still have the split bench seat in it. And in the back, once again, pretty much basic. Just black vinyl, and a little bit more black vinyl. So, like I said, it was not an extremely well-optioned car. Does still actually have the Ford key in the trunk. Let's take a peek in here. A couple of the original wheels. We can see that it had the white wagon wheels type wheels added to it. These are still brown, so I'm assuming they kept 2 of the originals for spares, threw them in the trunk. Still got the jack sticker on side of it. So let's go ahead, take a peek under the hood of this 72 Torino. Under the hood, we can see this car actually did get a V8. But that was pretty much about it. No booster on that master cylinder. So we've got manual brakes. We don't have any hoses going to the steering gear. So we've got manual steering. And the only thing we've got over here going through the firewall are 2 heater hoses. So no steering, no brakes, no air. 302 with a 3 on the tree. About as simple as it gets. Now, one good thing about it, everything here pretty much intact and original. The car really hasn't been modified, hacked up. It is a pretty honest old car. Just not the fanciest one you could get that year. That's something you don't see very often on a car like this. And this is actually kind of interesting. I just noticed this. Typically, a lot of times your 3-speed linkage will come through with the column. Now we look over here, we see our steering shaft coming through the firewall over here, going into our manual gearbox. However, your shift linkage is actually over here beside it, coming through the firewall at a slightly different location than where your steering shaft is coming through. It's kind of interesting. You don't see that very often, but you don't see a lot of 3 on the trees in cars of this era. So that's kind of different for sure. Well, there you have what I believe to be about the second cheapest Torino you could buy from Ford in 1972. Now, obviously, the first year for this body style, 7071, was a little different car, and always looking to fill those holes. Like I said, didn't have much of this stuff in inventory. I showed you the only other 2 cars that I had, so always glad to add different things to inventory. Even with a couple thousand cars and trucks here on the ground, always looking to fill those holes to help guys out with their projects. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up like we mentioned earlier, so definitely click that subscribe button. If you've got any questions about this Torino or any of the other 2,000 cars and trucks we've got here on the ground at Nobody Else's Auto, you can check out some of the other stuff just sitting right here. Econoline van, an early one, a late 60s, 63 Dodge convertible, 55 Pontiac, Ford Econoline van. We've got a lot of cool inventory here. If you've got any other questions, just give me a call, 620-786-4428. So we can have a short conversation about your project or what you're looking for a project, year, make, model, body style. All that information is critical to me with this amount of inventory to know exactly what you need, so I know what I'm looking for when I get out here on these 20 acres of cars and trucks. So you like this old stuff, like I said, be sure to check it out. Even the vehicles we just mentioned, there's videos of most of those on the channel, so be sure to jump on there, Nobody's Show, and check out some of those other videos. Definitely click that subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of this stuff that's coming up. We have a ton of fun on here. And we do a lot of cool live stuff. You don't want to miss any of that either. And you definitely want to jump on Sunday evenings for our Sunday night live chat. We've got an awesome group of car guys and gearheads on there. You don't want to miss that either. So click that subscribe button. Start hanging out with us. You can be a nobody as well. We have a lot of fun on here. You don't want to miss out on any of it. Hope you enjoyed the old Torinos. Stay tuned. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a ton of killer new inventory coming up. You don't want to miss any of it. Thanks for watching this video, everybody, and we sure hope to see you soon on the next one.